To solve a word problem, we want to go through some sort of predictable steps, and these steps we'll talk more about in the next section in Chapter 1. But for now, we'll just kind of go through them informally. You've probably been told a lot of times when you have a word problem that you want to start by drawing a picture. That's not very rectangular. Let's try this one. So we want to draw a picture, and we want to label it. Now the question then is, what are you labeling it with? Well, there's a clue in the problem that we want the area A to be expressed as a function of width. And so if we're going to write that as a function, that means that the independent variable, the input, should be width. So on our picture, we immediately know that we should label the width of the rectangle using the letter W. Now, the area of a rectangle, of course, is length times width. So width times the length. But I don't have the length labeled. So, but having the picture here and knowing the formula that I need to use tells me that I have a very specific task. I need to figure out how to label this in terms, ran out of room, of W. So in other words, I have to label the width, the length, but I have to do it using an expression in terms of W. So how do I know how to do that? Well, there has to be more information given in the problem, and it does tell us here that the width of the rectangle is twice the length. Width is twice the length, and so this word is a big clue. So width is equals twice length. So whatever I label this, twice this label, the label here's for length, twice this label should be W. So I can either just think about that, or I can actually solve this algebraically. If width is twice length, that means that this is an equation, so I can divide both sides by 2. That length can be represented as 1/2 width. So I could write W over 2 here, W over 2 here. And I have the expression that this length is 1/2 of the width. And so it is true now that this width is twice the length. Now my picture is fairly terrible because width over 2 is half of the length is half the width. It doesn't look anything like that. So if I were doing this problem for real, I would probably go back and try to draw something that looks about right. So if I were drawing this more carefully and paying attention to what I was doing, this would be width, and this should be half of that. So my rectangle has a width here of W and a length here of W over 2. But either way, this is my area formula, and if I multiply W times W over 2, that's going to be 1/2 W squared. So the formula that gives me the area of this rectangle is 1/2 W squared.